Parents, teachers, ChatGPT is coming, whether we like it or not. Scratch that. Actually, it's already here. And the reaction is strong. It seems like the world of education is split about what to do with this AI technology. A lot of people are skeptical and want to hide from it and ban it, while there's a growing group that really wants to embrace this. You can't hide from it, and students are already using it. So I'm going to use this video to explain how we can embrace this tool instead of treating it like an enemy that we know we can't oppress. I've been pretty skeptical about AI's place in schools, especially when it comes to essay writing. So I've been researching it a lot. I've read a ton of articles, watched videos, tinkered around with ChatGPT myself, and I took a webinar course from the International School Services. Dana Watts from the International School Services compared the growing access to AI to the moments we started to have internet access in schools. There was a distinct before and after. Once we put technology into classrooms, the understanding of the teacher's role had to adapt. They just had to adjust and learn to be the facilitators, to be the go-to person, but not have to be relied on to be a walking encyclopedia anymore. But good teaching is still relevant and necessary. My goal of this video is to empower you to understand what ChatGPT is and maybe even challenge you to try it. I used to be a skeptic, and now I'm a firm supporter of this technology. So subscribe to Primary Focus and let's get started. So before I can convince you to use ChatGPT, I need to tell you about what it is. ChatGPT is a form of AI, artificial intelligence, that processes language. If you put in a question or a prompt, it will respond to you with an intelligent answer. And you can type back and forth with it. You can ask questions and ask it to elaborate more on a certain topic. Some people even use ChatGPT to practice for interviews, for example. It can role play with you. It can prep you for a quiz you're about to take. It's very interesting to see that it really understands prompts that you give it. It is a tool to generate all sorts of written responses, from writing a LinkedIn post to you down to an essay, and everything in between. When I first heard about this, I had a lot of misconceptions. I thought it was an easy way to cheat. I thought it cheapened the art, skill, and craft of writing, and I just thought it was unethical. Turns out a lot of people share these same misconceptions with me. I also think as a 16-year-old, it would have been so obvious I was using ChatGPT, and I would have learned the hard way to not use it. As a fourth grader, I wouldn't have stood a chance trying to turn in something with ChatGPT. There's just a lot of nuance when it comes to the skills that are expected for your age, what people know you can produce on your own, and what your voice sounds like. You can get out there and make something great with ChatGPT, but you're gonna have to go back into the writing and do the work to make it have your voice and make it convincing it's you. You can try it for free, and it's scary fast how quickly it will come up with responses for you. The first time I used it, I actually gasped out loud as it was writing, and it was shocking to see what it came back with. The more I played with it though, I realized it's a really cool tool, but it's not the magical cheating machine that I thought it was. ChatGPT is smart, true, but it's not going to replace search engines, research, and it's not always correct with what it's going to tell you. So if you're using it, you need to actually have a really good background on what you want to talk about and what you're saying, and monitor what it's giving back to you. A good user will constantly be reading, analyzing, and editing what it says. ChatGPT is like a friend with a lot of great ideas, but at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own work. Hey, do you like to hear about education news and how it's going to affect you and your family? How about tips on how to work with your kiddo to get the most out of their education? If that sounds interesting to you, sign up for my weekly newsletter. Every Tuesday, I'll come into your inbox to share education news and tips on how to work with your kids. You can sign up at newsletter.primaryfocus.tv. Let's talk about ChatGPT and ethics. So it turns out ChatGPT is going to hold us responsible and accountable for ethics, not just our own personal ones, but teaching them to the next generation. The school and the family needs to build a culture of academic integrity. And honestly, this is something that should be valued whether ChatGPT is in the picture or not. It's a long-term commitment, but it's vital in a world where students can get the answers to anything they want in a moment's notice. And I think this was true before this technology was available to us, but it's going to be even more important now. We need to make sure that we're teaching about technology safety and ethics. From the safety point of view, students need to know that they cannot be putting personal information into ChatGPT. It is still in its research form, and what people are putting into it is being used to continue to pilot the program and improve on it. So things like your name, address, birthday, personal thoughts that you wouldn't want to go anywhere else. Sure, it might pop out the date of Abraham Lincoln's birthday, but do you really want to put in your own name and have your birthday pop back? I know that's an extreme example, but these are things that kids need to keep in mind. ChatGPT is monitored by a lot of people, and you just have to make sure that they're being discreet and smart about their private information. And then the ethics, of course, too. You really want kids to understand what it means to be proud of something, what it means to create something themselves, and really understand and love what it means to personally grow. At the end of the day, too, they're going to need to understand that you're not going to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. It's pretty obvious if you have a specific voice in your writing style, if the teacher knows your vocabulary, and then all of a sudden you're popping out an essay using a lot of language that you don't know. We have to teach accountability to our students. We have to teach them the value of a hard day's work. All of these lessons that kids need to come out of school knowing anyway just need to be extra emphasized if there's going to be something here that can generate them an essay in 30 seconds. Another thing that a school and the family needs to be really committed to is teaching anti-racism. ChatGPT is not perfect. It was created by feeding tons and tons of documents and writing, and as a result, sometimes the things that ChatGPT can say are problematic. It's been fed things that are racist, it's been fed things from the colonizer's point of view. It might spit out opinions or things with bias. They need to really understand how to analyze and question what is coming back to them. They should not be taking verbatim what it says, and they should always be feeling a little skeptical with what is getting spit out. And as the adults in the room, we just need to be ahead of the game on this and thinking about this. In terms of plagiarism detectors, I know that there's really good ones for detecting copy and pasted text online, and there are a few plagiarism detectors that have been made to try and see if something was written through ChatGPT, but after fiddling around with them, I have not really found a foolproof one. It felt like if you took the time to edit an essay a little bit, that you could fool it into thinking that it was handwritten, which is another reason why right now we need to be really aware of ChatGPT and knowing how to look out for warning signs that it was used. Ultimately, if somebody really wants to get away with using ChatGPT when they're not supposed to, right now I think that they can. But over time, that might change. I think technology to detect this will get better. And also, ChatGPT is free right now. It says pretty clearly on their website that they are providing this free to everybody for research and to build awareness. But it doesn't feel like the way they worded it, that it's always going to be there for free. So I think over time, this will evolve, and it's possible kids won't have free access to it anymore. That said, though, this technology is not going away, and I think it's only going to improve over time. But this is why it's important to understand this technology. Since it's going to be so prevalent in our society, we need to embrace it or at least understand it instead of fighting it and pretending it doesn't exist. And for what it's worth, ChatGPT is clearly trying too. I mean, look what it said to me when I asked for more clickbaity titles for this YouTube video. And so if we're going to embrace ChatGPT, we need to value the process and understand where this is going to fit into our lives. When you first think of ChatGPT, you might think of just this magic cheating machine that's going to write essays for you. But here's the thing, essay writing is just a piece of the puzzle. In K-12 schools, it's rare to have an essay represent the entire grade for your class. Children are expected to go to class, participate, complete multiple assignments over the course of a semester. There should be participation in class, and the teacher should be watching over them to see what they can do independently. And so what I'm saying is, if a teacher is actually created a class and they get to know the student and they understand the student, they're also going to have a clear understanding of what that student's voice is like, what their opinions are like, and a good guess at the type of work that they would turn in. Oh, and speaking of the process, let's bring back the draft. No, not the draft, okay? That's not my wheelhouse. Like, the old Wikipedia copy paste has been prevalent for quite a while now, which is why teachers should be asking and also incorporating into the grade initial research and drafting of an essay before it's turned in. I mean, the writing process is essential in creating a piece anyway, but if we can emphasize that a little bit more, that will add more accountability for ChatGPT. So let's say worst case scenario, a student did get an essay prompt and they threw it into ChatGPT with intentions to cheat. If they've only been asked just to turn in that essay, they might be able to get away with it. But if the teacher has actually taken time to walk through the writing process, they might have to turn in their work on a graphic organizer first or show their brainstorming. Now they need to analyze the essay and rewrite it into the chart. So they might have the finished product essay, but they need to be working backwards and take it apart bit by bit to turn in the graphic organizer. In the process, they will have practiced summarizing, analyzing, and reading about the topic assigned. They'll be removed from the "I'll have this done in 5 minutes" train of thought to actually being forced to interact with their work. And I know that's not best case scenario, but if they're coming from a place where they don't feel confident with their writing or they're not sure what they're doing, this is actually a deconstructed way to show a child the writing process. And with a little hope, they might be able to do this more independently the next time around. And hey, if they're stubborn, those ethics lessons didn't sink in, they may just need to learn the hard way. We can do all we want to teach ethics, but there's always going to be a thing or two that people have to just go ahead and get consequences for. I think ChatGPT is a great opportunity to teach children about creativity and using their voice. There's a huge emphasis in our culture about letting kids be themselves, explore their personalities, and be unique. So why would we let them get away with boring words written by a computer? There's something very special about writing an article and sharing an opinion that actually sounds like you. If they want to explore ChatGPT, here's what I suggest. Work together on a piece of writing. Now, ChatGPT is very receptive, so you can tell it straight up if you want it to be an essay, a script, a LinkedIn post, how many words it should be, if it's a list of things, how many items in the list. You actually get better results if you tell ChatGPT the format that it should be. But before you go in there, write down a few ideas together, get their opinion on the topic, see if they have any hot takes on it, a joke that they want to make. Get their voice down on paper and thought of before you get into the program. Then go into ChatGPT and put the prompt in. Make sure you're specific about the audience and how long you want it to be. And then let them read over it. See if it matches what they were thinking. Then, if you like it, do a little work together to weave in their voice into the work. Get their hot takes in, get an interesting introduction or a closing. Don't let them go sentence after sentence with it being exactly the same. Talk to them about a thesaurus or other ways that they could say it, and really have them work with the process. Yeah, they didn't write it, but being able to edit something is a form of writing, and it will expose them and get them thinking about how they would write this next time. I think it's actually a really powerful tool since they already have ideas written down, and then they can see what a computer would say or somebody else would create, and then go in and make it their own. And that's actually what I did to create the script for this video and the title. I wrote my ideas down first, and then I compared it with the ideas from ChatGPT. I'm glad I read it thoroughly because ChatGPT spit out saying that there are lots of plagiarism detectors that will always detect ChatGPT, which isn't true. I don't agree with that. I don't think that they're foolproof, but I did get some other points that I put into this video. So what do you think? Do you want your kiddos to explore with ChatGPT? Is this a tool that you would use? Drop a comment below. Make sure you've signed up for my newsletter with the latest education news and tips on how to work with your kiddos. Thanks for watching Primary Focus. See you next time.